Hello, welcome to The Season That Was, brought to you by AAMI, Beveridge and Kane Cornes with you. Kane, today we're looking at Fremantle's 2024 season, a campaign that promised so much, but was reflected in that round 24 loss to Port Adelaide, which still, to this day, just boggles the mind.
It actually does. They couldn't have got Port Adelaide at a better time. So much on the line. They'd lost their previous three. You're playing at home and you have the opportunity to win and go in. And at stages unthinkable, like a couple of teams we've spoken about, to think that they would be missing the finals from the position that they were in, where at one point it was looking like they were entrenched in the top four.
Let's have a look at some of their positives across the course of the campaign. This is their highest rated players across the course of the year. And have a look at them. Everyone from Luke Ryan down, aside from Sean Darcy, is under 24 years of age. They've got some young talent coming through.
Yeah, no doubt. And the age demographic of their list is perfectly placed with the assets that they've also got that you're best to speak about with the upcoming draft. But huge year for Ryan. He's got plenty of footy left in him. Just Caleb Serong, to think that he's 23 with the season that he had. Brayshaw in his probably last 10 weeks of the season was just enormous. Clark's been a great recruit. Hayden Young is now a star of the competition. So there is a lot to work with. And if you could grab pretty much any list in the comp, Fremantle would be probably in the top 5 of the lists that are best shaped to actually challenge in the next 4 to 5 years.
I think if you look at their starting four in the midfield, whether or not it's Luke Jackson and Sean Darcy, with Caleb Serong, Andrew Brayshaw and Hayden Young, it's just about the best in the competition. If they can add Shea Bolton, potentially Liam Baker as well, they are primed for success. Their biggest problems, though, are how they perform in close games. We know their record of holding on to victories when they're leading at three-quarter time. They dropped so many across the course of the season, but they also lost 6 of their 8 games decided by 13 points or less.
Yeah, and when we spoke about this with Adelaide, so I think the problem with Fremantle is they don't score enough, so they can never bury teams. Or even if they get down by 3 or 4 goals, you know that they're a team that is unable to score 5, 6 in a row with the game style that they play. So far too conservative. And if you look at their big scores, they had a couple of great games against Melbourne. They scored heavily, but very few and far between where they're kicking 100 points plus and putting teams away. That's the reason that they're involved in so many close games. So I think the big story is around Justin Longmuir and his game style and addressing that, because when they can move the footy, there's no problem there. They don't do it enough. Too much chip, sideways, slow ball movement. And then what do they do with his contract? So the pressure was there at the start of the year. So they've said, you know what we're going to do? Here's a 1-year contract extension. That'll stop it. Well, now we're in exactly the same position come January, February. What does the club do? Another 1 year? Or if it's me, I just go, nah. You're coaching out the season, and then we'll make a call whether you're the guy. If you're the guy, there's 3-year contract. If not, they might need to move on and maximise what they've got with this list.
It's going to be a fascinating situation for the Dockers. We mentioned that victory over Melbourne in the Alice Springs. That is their moment of the season. They kicked 22 goals and won by a huge margin over a Demon side that was performing pretty well at this stage of the campaign as well. This showed what they can do when they move the footy quickly.
Yeah, and I thought that there's Darcy, like he was actually, it was one of his better games. He only played the 12 games for the year, I think, and Jackson's form dropped off. Amos is a player that is going to take some time, but there's a lot there. Tracy's the other real positive out of the year, 45 goals I think it was, and just showed how reliant they became on him when he missed the last portion of the season. But he wasn't a player that I was thinking at the start of the year would be what we saw at this point. So finally they've got the key four that they've desperately needed since the PAV. So there's so much to work with the Dockers.
Their season star is Caleb Serong, already one of the best midfielders in the competition at just 23 years of age. Averaged 29 disposals, 7.6 clearances and 7 score involvements this season.
Well, he led the way with this midfield, which you already touched on, but they were first in the comp for clearance differential by a long way, and he was a key driver to that. So 23 years of age, defensively really sound. Maybe he's got to have a look at next year, like what happens when he gets the tag. He got the Willem Drew tag in that last game and wasn't able to break away from that. So that's not an experience he's had that often. But once again, there's Brayshaw and there's Young, so he's not going to cop that tag every week. And if they add Bolton, that's a frightening midfield.
They finished 12-10-1, the Dockers, just missed out on the finals. What do you give them in terms of
I gave them a C. Now, if you said to me at the start of the year that they'd win 12 and a draw, you go, that's probably pretty good. Probably would have been a B+. But to factor in the position that they were in and to fall away and lose the last 4, we saw the one against Essendon, which was a real heartbreaker for them in that last game against Port Adelaide. So nothing but a C, but I expect big things. I expect them to be there on prelim final weekend next year.
Yeah, I think they are primed to load up the Dockers. Keep clicking back to afl.com.au. We are wrapping up every club season in the season that was.